All right. Can everybody hear me here this morning? Any issues? We're looking good, hopefully. All right, beautiful. So happy Thursday here, everybody. Welcome back to what should hopefully be another trading day here. The mind-numbing chop continues, right? Price action continues to consolidate, continues to be drunk on effectively random headlines. And it's definitely been price action that's been honestly like using up every ounce of my mental capital. Now that's maybe a positive, right? Maybe that's a negative, certainly from my perspective, right? It's highlighting to me that I just need to focus really on just being technically proficient, right? I was thinking about this a little bit yesterday, but during that period of really extreme volatility, it was really hard to not have effectively an ego, right, based on how well things were going. Every day was monster win after monster win after monster win. And as fun as that was, that's not always how every trading day is going to be, even though maybe I want it to be so. So if I'm thinking back about maybe what my like subconscious thoughts are, or kind of maybe where I'm at individually, I think there's probably a lot. I've been putting a lot of pressure on myself to basically maintain that same level of performance, and anything that is subpar relative to that feels like a failure, right? Or feels like a disappointment, or just doesn't feel like it's particularly impressive trading. So that's like a fancy way, right, of saying that I've been a little bit greedy here, and that greed is draining more of my mental capital. It's preventing me from maybe making as good of a decision as I would like to make, and it's kind of putting a little bit of pressure on me, right, to place trades that I maybe am not, or let's say if I was like, neutral, then I maybe wouldn't be as interested in. So I'm putting more stock into some setups than I should. And I'm finding myself in kind of situations where I'm pushing really aggressively to try to make money in a market where that aggression is not being particularly rewarded. So there's a fine balance, right, with that. Your system is going to have periods of hot streaks. It's going to have periods of cold streaks. And it's going to have periods of times where it outperforms and underperforms. And I think right now I'm sort of in a period where I need to survive until I can thrive. And it's a little bit like, honestly, it's a little bit humbling. Who have felt like that exhausted, and that's been a little bit of a theme here. It kind of seems to be happening to me once a week, where I kind of just like lose the joy of playing this game, and end up um yeah, finding the thrill or finding the excitement or finding the value from a number on a screen, instead of effectively by being like a man of my word, right? So I'm not finding a lot of pleasure in the process. I'm finding pleasure in the P&L, and I don't think that that's a particularly sustainable way. I mean, it gets you on such a larger roller coaster on a daily basis, and that's something that I don't want to have to deal with or share with you guys. I find it pretty embarrassing, truth be told. So yeah, hopeful, right, that today is going to be a better day. Um, I understand what I need to work on here this morning. I have a plan on how I'm going to address it and attack it. And really, what my objective here today, it's not to make money, it's not to lose money, it's not even to take a trade. I just want to enjoy, right, today's trading day. I want to find some like nice wins, and I don't mean wins from a P&L perspective, but just enjoy myself, right? Have fun. Remind myself over why I love trading here so much. Of how really the thing that has sustained me throughout my 13 years is effectively that this is just self-improvement gamified. And I should be grateful that I have figured out what I need to improve. And now it's my turn to gamify that improvement by executing my plan here in the market. And I think ultimately, right, I love trading because it it's like that constant feedback loop, right? And it's so rewarding in hindsight to fix those problems and to fix your emotions and to fix your greed and to do all those sort of things. And I want to get back to that place as sort of my baseline. I think ultimately that's where I'm my best trader. I think ultimately that's where I'm my most profitable long term. And ultimately it's where I feel most excited to be able to share these experiences with you all here on a daily basis. From like a personal life perspective, this week has been a little bit challenging, I think is probably the right term. I got a lot of stuff going on, just like getting my move set up and things along those lines. And honestly, I've been a little bit more emotional about my time coming to an end here than I would have maybe expected. It's been a really interesting 5 years here. A lot has changed in my life. A lot has improved. A lot has gotten better, and I'm extremely grateful for that opportunity. But it's almost like sad to see this chapter come to an end, and I don't think I've processed that particularly well or in a particularly mature way. And yeah, I think that's just life, right? I think that's just how it goes. But um, ultimately, I'm very excited. My place is a shell. It's me, my computer, my dog, and you guys here today. And truth be told, like I couldn't imagine being anywhere else that I would rather be. Um, the idea of like waking up this morning, putting on a suit and tie, putting on the uncomfortable shoes, commuting 45 minutes to the office, and then spending the day working for a boss I hate, chasing a dream that I don't believe in is not the life for me. Every day I wake up and I get to honestly do the thing that I love the most, even though right now I kind of hate it. And I am so grateful for that. I feel tremendously lucky for that. I think that it is a tremendous blessing that I have this type of level of freedom and that I get to choose what I commit my life towards. And I think you all have made those same decisions and have pursued that same path. And we're all on the same page there. Ultimately, I think that that's like the unifying factor between this community. And I think why we're like so strong and resilient and why we're always constantly improving is because our why is the best one possible. And um, yeah, I'm incredibly grateful to be here with you all this morning. Like I'm kind of talking out loud, and I could feel my smile growing. Um, and yeah, I just have to say I feel like the luckiest guy in the world. And I want to thank you all for sharing this experience with me. It makes me feel even luckier. I value all of you tremendously. I want to see you all win. I'm fully bought in on seeing all of you be successful and to do well and to improve and to accomplish the objectives that you want. And I can't wait, right, to take this next step forward here, open up that new chapter, and yeah, continue to sort of build out the life of our dreams. And so, with that being said, everyone, I'm very excited to be here. I'm very thrilled to be trading here with you all this morning, and I'm really looking forward to having a very strong and successful trading day. Like I said, my objective here today is to kind of get back to having fun trading. I found this volatility, or sorry, this choppiness post volatility to be very frustrating. And it's been frustrating not because the price action itself is frustrating. It's been frustrating because of the limiting beliefs that I've imposed on myself, right? And so those limiting beliefs are P&L based. They're not process based. They're, I guess maybe like even wanting to entertain more than wanting to be disciplined, feeling the pressure to make trades just because I want that reward. And I think that's the wrong way to look at it. I think that that's ultimately a way where yeah, like I said, I ride a roller coaster that I'm not really into, and it's not fun. So getting back to having fun as a trader for me, right, is about finding kind of that flow state, right, of finding that point in focus where things feel smooth, things feel calm, things feel natural, things feel repeatable, right, things feel consistent. And if I can avoid those volatility spikes, in kind of my emotional state, then I'm much more likely to stay in that kind of flow state. It's I think with those limiting beliefs I've imposed on myself here, I set myself up to basically have like a tariff headline impact my mood, right? And truth be told, I don't give a shit about the tariffs. I have no control over it. I have no reason to attach any stress to it, and so it's been honestly ridiculous to have kind of been so emotionally tied to those moves and to have gotten so agitated by them. And I'm looking forward to just having fun, right? Playing ball, having a good time, improving, getting better, fixing my problems, fixing my mistakes, and then seeing my P&L catch up right to those improvements. So it's been, one day up, one day down, one day up, one day down, one day up, one day down. And I think it's probably one gray hair for each of those days. And hopefully we get ourselves a really nice bit of price action here today, and we can kind of really get back to where we would like to be as traders and get back to sort of all-time highs in our portfolios. So first things first, right? Economic calendar here. So just going to sanity check. The Market Watch economic calendar. So it's Thursday, right? We have jobless claims. We've got existing home sales at 10, and then we got some Fed speak here after markets close. So not particularly concerned by any of those elements here today. Maybe a little bit of some headline risk around 10, but maybe a clearer market for us. If we could just avoid, right, that like random tariff tweet midday, I think that's going to start to make price action feel a lot more tradable than what it has been. And obviously, I think detaching my ego from my P&L is going to continue to allow me to focus on my process. And the more I focus on my process, the easier it is for me to repeat my trades, stack up wins, right, and have a really good kind of run of form. So, here's to us having a really fun trading day here, team. And let's get after it. So first things first, what's the count on ES? Let's get there. And for me, guys, the anecdotes to frustration is always gratitude, right? That for me, I found that to be and it sounds fugazi, but for me, it's the one thing I can always control. And that in itself, I think, is a tremendous level of freedom. So Jack, spot on. It's a 2 out of 3 here to the upside with volume. It's a weak candle shape though, right? So I'm going to call this a weak 2 out of 3 to the upside, right, with volume. So we'll see how it goes, right? Again, similar type range as we had there yesterday, approximately an implied move of like 2%. We're a little bit less than that here so far pre-market, right? We're at like 1.2%. So definitely a lot of space, right, for us to have some joy and hopefully a little bit of fun. I do still think that this is a two-way tape until we really break out or, separate away from that sort of Wednesday the 9th range. So that's what I'm going to be looking for here, right? Going to maintain some flexibility in both directions. And then, hopefully we get a nice opportunity. So to the upside here, we're going to be looking, 54.20 is going to be covered by the opening range indicator. So I'm going to go 54.30 as my starting point. And then, for what feels like the first time in a long time, I don't have to actually fill in 6,000 levels here today. So that's kind of nice. To the downside here, we're looking at a 53.50 as my starting point, and then we can kind of fill it out from there. Maybe try to finish filling that gap. Seems like there's still a couple points to go there. Maybe that could be sort of a nice story for us to kind of fall in love with. So two-way tape here. Again, going to be cautious, going to be patient. And like I said, right, emphasis on the technical side of a trade, not on the reward of the trade. the reward needs to be delayed, right? The gratification of the reward needs to be delayed. And I think that the more that just attach myself to the short-term outcome, the sooner I lose the forest from the trees, right? So that for me is something I really want to focus on and think about and improve, because ultimately that's where I'm my most successful and best, and I think that's where I'm my most effective communicator and just my best sort of version of me as a trader. So that's sort of what I owe you guys. That's the commitment I owe you guys, and going to make sure that I really focus on those elements. All right, NQ, how do we feel? Similar, not so similar? Yeah, same story, right? Give or take. Green candle here pre-market, but I mean, ES could go green here pretty easily too. So I'm gonna call this one technically a 3 for 3 here, and we'll call it a week 3 for 3, and just maintain that flexibility to have, basically a range that can trade here in both directions. I think 1900 continues to be a pretty realistic opening target here. We're 165 points away from that being kind of our price zone. So I don't need to change any levels here to the upside. That looks fine. To the downside here, right, we're going to ORB fake out, then break it down. And we're looking 18.6, 18.5, and then like down towards maybe 18. All right, sweet. And looks pretty similar. And hopefully, right, we can get ourselves some nice trending PA there. All right, CL. We don't have any data to worry about here today. And we're going to call this a 2 out of 3 here to the downside with volume. And we're looking for an ORB fake out, then breakout towards, let's pre-market high, 63.50 is our starting point, and then up towards 65. So that's a $1.50, and then we can maybe go up towards 67. So 63.50, 64, 64.50, 65, right? That's yesterday's high, and then 65.50, 66. Okay, and then to the downside here, right? Again, 2 out of 3 to the downside with volume. So opportunity for bears to kind of step back up here. And we're targeting 61.50 as my starting point here. I could go 62 actually. So I'll go 62, 61.50, 61, 60.50, 60. And then that last wick here, we'll go 59.50. I think that's plenty of space down. Makes sense here across the board. I would understand the plan. All right, epic. So now I'll just fire through our leading names here quickly. So Apple, 3 for 3 here to the downside. Tesla, technically gapping up, so we'll call that a weak 2 out of 3 with volume. I have to say, team, I'm really looking forward to being back to trading on my PC instead of from my laptop here. I'm not liking this very much. Everything just feels so small. It's going to be a 2 out of 3 here to the downside with volume. So that BB reversal thesis we had there yesterday did play out. Already did Tesla. Let's go AMD. 2 out of 3 with volume. NVIDIA, same thing. 2 out of 3 with volume. Okay, Amazon, same thing. 2 out of 3 with volume. Right, and the minus, right, indicates to the downside. Meta technically gapping down by 2 cents. Netflix inside bar. And then Google, high vol doji. I freaking hate these dojis. We'll call that a week. 2 out of 3 here to the downside with volume. So in general, right, we're seeing pretty much consolidation across the board, or like narratives where you can see some sort of sign of weakness relative to what the market has been generally giving us as like a loose statement, right? It's been one day up, one day down, one day up, one day down, one green day, one red day. I mean, literally for how long? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So pretty much exclusively, right? We've had a few exceptions here, but yeah, pretty bouncy, right? Pretty challenging, pretty frustrating PA. And so it's now just understanding, right, that we're like when we say those things, right? I love this, but the language that we use to describe our problems, right, becomes how we solve them. So even there, right, it kind of caught myself calling it frustrating. I'm telling myself it's okay to be frustrated. I don't think that's probably the right mindset to adopt here inside this price action. Price action is the same every day. It's the same every time. It's just how I impose my feelings onto it that makes it feel different. And I think the more accountability or the higher standard I hold myself to there relative to those sensations, easier it is to maintain, right, that element of control. And we can kind of go from there. So really, right, that's what I'm trying to focus on. That's what I want to improve. That's what I want to get better on. And just give myself, right, good, positive, optimistic goalposts that I can kind of work within. And for me, that's super important. And yeah, hopefully, right, we can put ourselves in a great situation to finish off the week with a bang, or I mean, to remove pressure, I should say, right? I still plan on trading here tomorrow, unless something dramatic changes. But yeah, let's have ourselves a day here, team. Like I said, I'm excited to be here. I'm incredibly grateful that I get to spend my mornings, right, and days working with you all. It is something that I look forward to, even though I don't maybe express that as well as I could. And yeah, can't wait to see what the market has in store for us. I'm excited to solve today's puzzle, and I'm looking forward to, yeah, playing another kind of round of market madness here with you all, and hopefully, right, we can kind of come out on top, and at the very least, right, come out feeling happy that we followed our rules, stuck to our process, and didn't really compromise on what ultimately could be some bad decisions. So we got a couple minutes here till market open. I'm just going to give my dog a quick little belly rub, make myself a quick cup of coffee, use some positive language here to kind of hype myself up, and then we'll jump back on in just a couple minutes and we'll get ourselves set up for what should be a fantastic trading day. So we'll be back out in a couple minutes here, team, and we'll chat then. All right, everybody. So that's market open. Let's see how she goes, right? Hopefully we get ourselves yeah, nice kind of trading day here, nice little trading range. I'm trying to put on my watch. You can't multitask. Oh boy. All right, so let's get ready here, team. Any questions, anybody? We're all good? Makes sense? All right, I'm going to take that as a yes. Brent, are you inside the stream here right now? Yes, no, maybe? Mike is working, right? Yeah. All right, well, if you show up here, Brent, I'll show you how to make your charts look like mine. Pretty easy process. I mean, if you're not here, then that definitely fell on deaf ears, but I'll try to remember. Okay, so probably not expecting today to be like a mean reversion type day, right? With where price action is kind of gapping up. Maybe on, she's surprised by that. Oh, maybe it will be. All right, take that back. Okay, so good close. I mean, it's ES, NQ, and CL pretty much across the board. So we got to figure this out here, right? It's going to be 121 points from that low, so approximately 18,736 as sort of our target. We map out fibs this way. Okay, so I'm already looking at this here, team. Already looking at this. See if we can get a reasonable pullback here. This would be a one contract play, mean reversion technique. And I'm looking here, looking for a short. And it's got to be within 25 points, right, of that 896. Right, so entry has to be pretty much here. So I'm watching here closely. All right, guys, I am in average price 878.25. 878.25. It's just one contract. stop is at high of day. And clearly can't type. Okay, and so far so good here. So let's see if this thing can break down and really start to push. Okay, so let's see if it can flush here. And really start to give us some follow through. Okay, so far so good. The thing I'm paranoid about, I guess, right, is we've seen the fake out happen so much. So I've got my finger here watching very carefully if this thing is going to pull back. If it does, I'm just going to get out. Okay, come on, give me the chance to exit here. Okay, let's see, come on. I spoke that fake out into existence, and there's my stop loss. So minus 315 on that trade, minus 315 on that. It's a frustrating start. I might be able to try this same thesis again. So fake out higher, right, would give me another opportunity to potentially take a stab at this. If this closes above basically that confirmation candle high, gotta look for a different opportunity. Oh, frustrating. So that would push stop loss to 903, right? Should mean I need like a 78 or better as an entry again. Okay, so still watching. I know it might seem counterintuitive, right? When you're dealing with kind of markets that like to give us that fake out, right? It might want to trick you into giving yourself like a wider stop loss to survive the fake. Ultimately, I don't think that that's the right way to optimize it. It's better to have lots of small kind of like baby shots, right? That you can take a stab at instead of like needing your one trade to be an all or nothing. So I'm going to wait for this. holding 900 now. It's giving me that increasing volume, so maybe I can get away from the mean reversion and start to look for those breakout opportunities, especially if it's going to be holding above 900. Again, I had, maybe $500-600 worth of profit on that first trade. Didn't take it. So that greedy bastard. And what I will say, right, is it's much harder to blow up your trading with like death by a million paper cuts. We basically have to make sure that those paper cuts, right, don't turn into like a bleed out of our arteries. And if you focus on losing small, right, then you can add to your winners and you can build up your position sizing that way. You honestly make your win rate irrelevant. So that's kind of what I need to rely on here a little bit, right? Allow the variance to work out in my favor and to have the position sizing flexibility to be able to survive those ups and downs. So we've had a lot of comments here, right? How do you do X? How do you do Y? How do you do Z? 99% of profitable trading is effectively just maintaining a position sizing where price action just does not feel personal. So, okay, starting to watch here, NQ to the upside. And the stop loss for now would be 924.25. So again, looking for a long here. 14 points of risk as is. So that's one contract. A little bit of a pullback, able to get two. I don't think I'm going to get that deep of a pullback. Oh, maybe. All right, guys, I am in 936.75 long. One contract. And there we go. So let's see if this thing's got a little bit more juice here, and I'm going to be really fighting back against that greed, right? There, it's starting to pop. And I'm going to look to... All right, I'm out of that trade. 955 exit. I am out of that trade. 955 exit. Just a quick little rip. Yeah, so exactly, right? We recovered what we lost there. Just quick little... I mean, like I just said, right? You survived the variance by being able to take kind of small shots. I maybe could have pressed there and gone to two contracts, but I don't think that's worth it, right? My objective here is to focus on losing small because it makes it so much easier for me to recover, right? And make good objective decisions. And yeah, I saved myself 10 points here right now, right? $200. So I think ultimately really, really good decision. And if it's strong, it can always set up back for us. But it feels like it kept getting stuck at that 50 or like it hit a trampoline wall at 50. And I've been double bounced by the market too many times this week. I'm not interested in doing that again. So good close, good trade. Back to square one. And these have moved quickly, right? So do we have maybe an opportunity here now on the 5 min? Yep. All right. So again, we're going to reset back up. Realistically, I'd be targeting just 19,000 here. And you're looking at a pretty tight stop loss. That's 12 points. And we need to see it break out over that blue line and then act as support there. So that's not acting like support, right? That's way too much give. So let's try again, see if it can give me another good reaction. Okay, so watching closely here. We're watching just a gentle pullback. Stop loss would be 951. I'm just going to round it down to 951. All right, so I have a confession. I did jump in on that trade, but I'm closing it here now. I bought in at 963. For whatever reason, I felt quiet saying that. Not sure why. And I'm already out. And that was for 355 bucks. And the reason why I closed is because I clicked submit above my blue line. So I kind of chased my entry there. So that's why I was a little bit reluctant. And okay, just stacking up base hits here. Nice work, Jeremy. Let's go. Good job. So 2 for 3 here to start the morning. 2 small little wins, 1 small little loss. Sitting on about 370 bucks here on the day. Again, right? The second I noticed that my average price was above my entry zone, I had to close, right? That's a broken rule. That's a chased trade. I'm not in the business of hoping I get lucky. That for me, right, is a way of attaching my ego to my P&L, trying to fight back against that sensation. So, I'm more frustrated that I didn't get Jeremy's entry, right, versus anything else. And I'm okay, right, that I caught myself here, right, being a little bit sloppy. So apologies for that, team. But a good start here. Good start to the day. Right. And I would say it's a good start, not because it's been 2 winning trades. I mean, I think all 3 of the setups have been reasonable, but it's just that forcing myself to remain in control there on that second decision, where I think it was very easy to hope I got bailed out. That's a nice little character development arc. So, okay, good decision. And at this point, right, no interest in buying on this pullback. That's a big move higher and then a pretty aggressive flush. So no desire there. Also do apologize. I've not been able to alert any of these trades here inside the Discord. I mean, for those of you who are watching, that's probably not an issue. But a good start to the day. Again, right? Trying to hold myself to a standard that would make the Michael of me, Michael 10 years ago or 13 years ago uncomfortable. I don't think that, even 13 hours ago, I would have been able to have closed that winning trade. And then now, right, as price pulls back towards your entry price, this would be like full panic mode and thinking, oh, fuck, what do I do here? So again, really good proactive approach there in protecting myself from myself. Yeah. Basically, don't want to be a Jekyll and Hyde trader, right? But obsession over your process leads to the P&L reward that you're looking for. And so even though I didn't maybe get as much as I wanted here on both of these trades, I've stacked up a nice little day here so far. How's everyone feeling? Team feeling good? Yeah. Good, good. So today, right, very much just been scalping away here, Kiki style. And so I'm not trying to change my technique. I'm trying to change the associations of ego with my technique so that I can just take price action off the table, right? The winning traders are always cutting trades early. That's why they're winning traders. And if I focus on closing my trades as my P&L is increasing, then I feel far less greed, far less FOMO, far less anxiety, right? To feeling like I'm owed a certain number. And I think feeling as if I'm owed this constant, mega win day or whatever it is really not sustainable for me from like a psychological perspective. And honestly, what reason do I have to be stressed? Love it, Alan. Great to hear. Hey, scalp life is a profitable life. I won't complain about that. Make our money, reset, try again. Make our money, reset, try again. It's good. So now we're just continuing to look for other opportunities. Ideally, we want to see this next candle here break out above 19,000, right? Hold 19,000 on increasing outlier volume. And then I can look for a continuation move towards that 19.1. Holy smokes, Rusty. Let's fucking go, man. Nearly 70K. Get out of here. My man, congratulations. That's insane, Rusty. Well done, guys. Well done. Gotta say, guys, it's very, very inspiring to me, and it honestly puts a huge smile on my face to see you winning. So, really, really, really impressed. Incredible work, man. 70K on the week. Go buy your wife something nice. All right, so now you're just showing off, Rusty. Let's go. Nice work, Mark. Okay, so not enough volume there on that 3-min time frame. Not enough volume there on. I gotta get rid of these. I don't care about the latest news. Okay, so probably not going to get increasing volume on this breakout here either. Rusty, that's probably got to put you close to like a 250,000 in lifetime profits, right? Okay, so good start here. 2 for 3. Let's see if something else wants to come together. Like I say, the thing that cracks me up here, not yet, Kiki, not yet. I need to see a very aggressive rejection here. In my experience, right, or we've kind of talked about this a little bit, but when those like mean reversion trades fail and it breaks out of extreme expansion and it continues to expand higher, that's often a really good indication of getting a trend day here to the upside. So for me to want to go short or to reverse it, I'm going to need a very obvious rejection. Okay, so increasing volume there, not quite outlier. We've got a few minutes before the market data. I'm a little bit tempted to trade this. So stop loss would be 19017. Now, the only thing I'm thinking about here is I'm so paranoid about the headline wick. Yeah, so as long as I see the volume here, Sammy, I'm going to be happy to look for continuation. Really, my biggest fear is basically that the headline that drops in the next 2 minutes is going to shake me out before the move occurs. So I've already seen a fake out happen. I know that headlines love to chase, like basically wick me out. So maybe now incorrectly, I didn't assume that I'd be able to get that same sort of amount of follow through like we're getting here now. So just like that extra little bit of time pressure was more what slowed me down. This very much seems like it's a yeah, like a little squeeze type situation here. And yeah, Rusty, go enjoy your tan. No trading on Monday, right? No trading for me next week, but enjoy your time off, man. Well deserved. Give your family a big hug and congratulations on an incredible week. All right, so 10 seconds here. Good volume shelf. So as long as this thing doesn't do anything too fucky on the headline, we're going to be okay. So for now, still would be using the pullback technique. Now it has to be the aggressive. That was a bit maybe too fast higher and then too fast lower. So again, let's see if we can just slow down just for a second. So stop loss would be 19,043.75. And again, right, I'm going to keep the position sizing small here. ES is going to be the same type of setup. So that's to pull back into 57. I have to say, it's kind of, I was thinking about saying this a little bit ago. It's like the fear of forcing myself to switch to trading micros instead of trading minis. It's like it scares me straight. Sounds ridiculous to say that out loud, but and maybe didn't need to have the paranoia to close. And shame I didn't hold the entire rally higher, but that's okay. Again, we're going to have increasing volume here. Twenty seconds. 54.40. This would be my favorite band when I was a kid. Okay, so pullback technique here would still be preferential. Ooh, less so now. I'm going to call that a confirmation failure, and it's honestly by just the skin of its teeth. And the reason I'm willing to call it that, right, is because that candle could not close above our previous candle's high. So if I'm going to be judging how strong price action is, right, if that volume was actually impressive, it wouldn't have sold under the previous candle's high. So all that means, right, is I'm going to put like pass on the burden of confirmation here to a longer time frame. And this can either set up here now as a reversal scenario, right? We've got that kind of first sign of potential weakness there from bulls, or right, if they get their act together and close, probably around 70-ish or higher, then I can start to look for another kind of continuation narrative here to the upside. So very, very close there on that NQ, probably like a 1 or 2 point difference, maybe even less. But I think ultimately that was the right decision, as I'm starting to see signs of exhausted. Okay, so let's watch this 5 mid candle. We talked about closing around 70. Did it, right? It got its shit together. So again, right now looking for a gentle pullback here for now on the pullback technique into 19,057.25 or better. Otherwise, I'm going to have to go aggressive, and the aggressive is going to be challenging, not a tremendous amount of flexibility on when I can get my entry timing. And then effectively, right, what we're looking to see here is for like this zone, right, to act as our support button. And we need to find basically purchase right in the lower end of that zone. So not going to be able to get a chance here on the 5, which is a shame. I just can't get the like the risk reward ratio here to the upside is very, very limited, right? Or like the realistic risk reward here is very limited. So, okay, maybe be a 68 stop loss, risking 8 points. I mean, that could be 2 contracts. Yeah, 100% Jack. I don't have any regret about closing where I did. I don't feel any FOMO or anything like that. Because, like I said, right, my objective here is to fight back against my greed, trust my gut, right, close when it doesn't feel like it's behaving correctly, and just not put myself in situations where the emotional reaction to price action is overriding my technical decisions. If my technical decisions are wrong, right, those are much easier to calibrate than it is to fix like a emotional issue. So from that perspective, right, I'm totally fine with it. Eh, 10 minutes probably not going to give me increasing. Did this go increasing? Nope. So contract sizing is going to be dependent on a couple things here, Tom. It's going to be dependent on basically your reaction to how much you lose, right? Everyone's going to have a different number that breaks their logical brain. And so that's going to be the first thing you have to ask yourself, right? If I lose X amount, when do I go on tilt, right? Or what's the number that kind of sets me over the edge? So that would be sort of the first thing to consider. And then from there, it's just about making sure that your position sizing puts you in situations where hitting that number is like a outlier type event. So it's really dependent on that. From my perspective, right, I want to be not losing more than 1% of my account per day. You know, if I have a bad day, I should only be down 1%, give or take, right? A couple ticks here and there. Like yesterday, I was down just a little bit more than 1%. Like 1600, right, versus 1500 would have been 1%. So it's about staying within those boundaries and then working backwards from there. So if you're using that as your rough guideline, right, I would say like 2, right, micros on NQ would maybe be sort of where I'd go as a starting point. But it all starts, right, with that selfish question, right? That okay, only I can answer this, only I know, and that number is going to be a little bit different for everyone. Okay, so ES maybe on the 10 min here could play NQ on the 10 min. I can play if it holds above 19.1 on the 10 min, and we're back in business. What a squeeze! Mean reversion day, my ass. Holy. Okay, so maybe I can still talk myself into this. 19.2 would have to be the starting point as our target, right? Our next level here, we're at 19.1, so next target becomes 19.2. Okay, and then we need to be at least 25 points, right, from whatever our stop loss low is. So that's going to be about here. So 1965, right, is kind of like a bare minimum price. Stop loss, we'll call it 42. And so I'm watching here again, team. I am watching one contract. Okay, so watching closely here. Let's see. All right, cool. So I am in average price 065, so 65. Maybe not a perfect entry. Okay, let's see if it can go. Okay, guys, I have closed this trade here at 69. I have closed here at 69. I think I can maybe get a better entry price than what I got there on that previous trade. And I didn't like the enthusiasm there of that bounce. Okay, so took a quick little 90 bucks. We're going to try this potentially again here. I think it was a good decision, right? So again, we're going to watch this reaction. Yeah, it is Samuel, but I'm on my like travel setup here, so I don't have my full like normal computer. Everything's kind of packed away, so it is a thing, but just not when I have this travel setup. It doesn't function that way. So when I'm back at it again here in a week. Yeah, it'll be back going to that. I have a few plans in place to alleviate hopefully some concerns here, and we'll talk about that stuff when I'm back at it. But yeah, the ding will be coming back. And I feel pretty good about closing that trade where I did. Again, right? I've not missed on anything. It continues to consolidate inside that range. I think the stress I would have felt there at that 48 would have been very tough. And so if I have a slightly rushed entry, right, and I can acknowledge that to myself that, hey, maybe I was a little bit too aggressive on my entry timing, I know that I'm most likely then to kind of compound mistakes. And so if a trade pulls back, right, towards my entry price here again, post entry, it probably isn't behaving as strong as I'd like. So let me throw the ego out the door, right, get out, reset, get in partial again, and try again, right? 3 for 4 here on the day, sitting at almost 500 bucks. So I can't really complain here too aggressively. So yeah, loss of 305, win of 335, win of 360, and a win of 140 on the day here. So not bad. But yeah, if you guys have any requests on how you guys want me to honestly make sure the stream is as transparent as you guys demand, please let me know. I'm always happy to take any feedback. I don't want there to be any doubt over what I'm doing, because I think ultimately, right, that then becomes cloudy and confusing. And so I want to avoid that here at all costs. So if you guys have any suggestions or requests, let me know. I'll do my best to kind of make sure that we find a good solution there. So really, kind of what I'm crossing my fingers for, right, is this candle closes an inside bar, and then I can play a pullback here inside that inside bar, or like maybe post a little fake out, and then look for a jump in trade. So again, right, it's pretty much back to where the entry price was. Yeah, cool. So I do it on YouTube here and Discord. So I'll stream directly through Discord. Again, I'm on my travel setup here right now, so it's like a little bit of a limited technology stack. But yeah, if there was a global demand to do it over Zoom, I would have no problems with doing that. I know a lot of people dislike the latency of YouTube. I personally don't think that it's a issue, but I'm not on the other side of it. So obviously, I'm probably a little bit biased. Okay, so about a buck 30 to go here. And just been scalping, right? Just been scalping away. Not to jinx myself here, but I think one of the things that I do best as an educator is that I bounce back well, right? Like I bounce back from frustration well, and I don't bring baggage into the next sort of trading day or trading session. And that for me is something that I think it's the hardest thing to learn, or the hardest thing to see, or the hardest thing to understand. Because man, oh man, does variance feel personal sometimes. It's one of my favorite quotes. Um, yeah, no. So there isn't any. I mean, the difference on through Discord or whatever is it's really negligible. The only difference with Discord is that it isn't recording. So if for whatever reason your internet has any buffering or things don't work out, when it reconnects, you get back to live. on YouTube, right? If you have any internet buffering issues or things slow down or you skip a beat here for a second, it doesn't automatically kick you back to that live spot. And so then it starts to exaggerate what the latency difference is. So that's really the primary difference. Okay, so I am watching here again. 89 would be my stop loss. So, okay, risking about 16 points, right? $360. That was too fast. So again, watching NQ here to the upside, see if we can find support. I mean, did recover it pretty well. So watching here closely, team. Just a little bit too quick here. Okay, that was a good bounce. Okay, sweet. So I am in 102.25, 102.25, stop loss 089.25, one contract. And that was a really, really, really good entry, guys. So let's see if this can give me just another quick little pop. I'm going to get out and just keep scalping away here like a lunatic. Come on, come on. Okay, starting to get a little bit sticky here at these highs. So I am out, guys. I am out. 122 on the dot fill price. So just a little bit under $400 here on that trade. But stack them and rack them. Stack them and rack them here today. Let's go. So 3 for 4 here. Good scalping day. And there's your exit chance, right? If you missed it the first time. Nice work, Kiki. Yeah, pretty much the same setup we just played there on the 10, Sammy. Pretty much the same. Okay, beautiful. So that now, right, has recovered, right? I'm now green on the week here. So no complaints. I mean, very, very fast moving trade. So I don't think I've alerted any of these in the Discord. So pays to watch the stream. And just keep stacking them up, team. Just keep stacking them up. Nice work, Herschel. How's everyone feeling? Good? Better than yesterday? Feels nice to have these just basically stack up these base hits, right? They add up pretty quick. So minus 305, plus 335, plus 360, plus 140, plus 445 on that trade. Actually got to fill 124.50. 124.50, Phil. So good day here so far. Really, really good day. Just being controlled, being disciplined, not forcing anything. And yeah, sitting at 975 here on the day. Sounds good, Alan. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, man. Congratulations on a good day. Again, we have effectively the exact same setup here coming back together on the 5 min. So again, right, if the trade is strong and it'll give us more than one chance to enter, I can look to maybe literally play this exact same thesis, right? It's the exact same stop loss. It's the exact same area we want to see us support. So let's see if it can behave here nicely. If I'm going to replay this, right, I want to make sure that I'm getting a better entry than last time, right? So what I do here, Viz, is I set my limit order to be the price of this blue line. And then I look to click submit once it's under that price. And so what it'll do is that'll behave effectively like a market order with an upper cap here of that blue line. So I have everything set up here from a risk management perspective to be the difference here. And then I'm looking to buy myself a discount when it pulls back under that price. And I'll get the best possible fill up until that blue line. Does that make sense? And then when I'm getting out of trades, I'm literally just clicking X on my screen, which is getting me out at a market order. And I'm trying to get out as the candle is going in the direction that I want to close, right? So I'm waiting to time that on the upside so I get kind of that positive slippage instead of that negative slippage. Does that make sense? There's no better feeling when NQ cooperates. No better feeling. So yeah, so far so good here, team. Got me feeling nicey. All right, the John Gruden line. It's so funny, right? If I were to tell myself beginning, oh, it's gonna be super choppy, it's gonna be super frustrating, it's gonna be super whatever, I reckon I'd be pretty on edge here right now. So just telling myself, hey, it's not a market to get emotionally attached to my trades. It's giving me such a better outcome, right? Than just holding out for hope. What a strange game. Basically, any time I feel like I know it all, the market likes to remind me the opposite. Yeah, spot on, Robert. Yeah, nice little trend day. Kind of talked about that a little bit here earlier. When you get that failed mean reversion look and you break out of already expanded Bollinger Bands, that becomes a really good indication of getting a tremendous amount of follow through back to the upside, right? When price action continues to squeeze higher in extreme kind of conditions, you're setting yourself up for one heck of a rally. Let's go, Jeremy. Congratulations. $1,000 ain't too shabby. Get yourself 70 more accounts and you'll be just like Rusty. What a week. Unbelievable. Cammy, I guess we're still in play here. So again, still targeting that 200. It's okay. I mean, we could use the pullback technique for sure. Now it's going to have to be the aggressive. So stop loss would be 127.50. Limit order price is going to be 140. I'm going to call it 142. I'm going to look to buy a discount right under that price. So watching here carefully. Said stop loss 127.50. Okay, watch, watch, watch. Okay, guys, I am in average price 136, one contract. And let's see if this thing can rally here and keep pushing higher. I don't like that. Okay, guys, I'm closing this trade. I am out. Closed at 137, guys. I have closed this trade at 137. I did not like that failed breakout. So I will potentially try this again. Now, of course, runs classic. So maybe a little bit, panicky there. It's okay. Take my $60. Sorry, take my $20. Try this again potentially. Again, 4 for 5 here on the day. Just taking my base hits. I have nothing to complain about. If I'm going to try this again, right, I'm going to use that 136 here as my reference price. I'm going to want to discount relative to that. Make sense? Yeah, 100%. And I'm trying really, really hard to just be unemotional, right, and ruthless with my execution here. No time to like feel sorry for myself or to feel like a pussy or to do whatever. It's those are all just like self-imposed limiting beliefs. I don't need to be that guy. Don't care if I miss out on a trade. If a trade is strong, it'll give me multiple chances to enter. We've seen that here today perfectly. So say what you want, right? Maybe I'm being too defensive, but I would rather be too defensive than too aggressive. That's always going to make me more money long term. And yeah, let's see if we can get a slightly better entry here. Might give me an opportunity. So 136 is my reference price. I'm going to watch that reaction basically around that area. A dramatic flush into that wick zone is going to be a reason to basically not pull the trigger. And if it sets up strong, then I can reset here on the 5-minute time frame and then look to maybe play that continuation on that. So I don't have to rush this. Is everyone here green on the day? Awesome, team. Love to hear that. Good job. Okay, so now we're looking at possibly the aggressive entry technique here. Stop loss 137. I push that up just a little bit. 137.75, we'll call it. It's giving me 13 points of risk. So again, I'm just going to stick it to one contract here. I'm not sizing up today. I'm keeping it tight, right? I'm not allowing myself to, just get frustrated easily just by having too much size on, right? I spent yesterday yapping away about how your position sizing can solve a lot of your problems. For me, that's kind of what I'm doing here today, right? I'm allowing my position sizing to keep me calm and just taking those base hits. That's way more valuable to me than anything else. Okay, so still watching here, still watching. Nothing about this candle scaring me away. Okay, guys, I am in 148.25, 148.25, one contract. Stop is 137. Let's see if this thing's got one nice pop left. Beautiful. All right, I have closed there, guys. I have closed that trade, 168. I'll take my 400 bucks. Just stacking them up here, just stacking them up. So again, right? Took a quick little 20 points. In and out, 5 seconds. Scalping away here like a madman, making nice money, turning into a really good day here, guys. 5 for 6 now, right? And I don't think I'm going to say this speaking for myself, but I haven't found this price action particularly stressful here today because I'm not allowing that stress to compound because I'm making deliberate and quick decisions. I'm not hesitating. So good day here so far. And I gotta say, guys, I really appreciate everyone's pump up speeches to me yesterday. Kind words. It really did mean a lot. So I just want to say thank you, everybody. I feel very, very lucky to have a team like you guys. It's pretty epic. And again, if this thing sets back up, I'll take another scalp. I don't care. I don't care that it's moving. Don't care. Maybe I care a little bit now, but not the end of the world. Everyone's still feeling good? How's your guys' mental capital here today? Strong, sharp, yeah? Tom, if you have any questions, right, or you need something answered, don't reach out to your DTR advisor. Just reach out to me. Right. So if you have any questions, Tom, just send me a message. Right. I'm the one who's going to be able to help you. So contact me instead. Right. Okay. So now we're starting to see that first sign of exhaustion. Hey, sounds good, Samuel. Sounds like you're having a good day, man. So possibly our first sign of a rejection here, right on NQ. Good volume, bigger than the most of the run up here. Could be interesting to the downside. Now, bad close, never mind. I was about to say though, right, because it's effectively been just a straight line higher here to the upside, it would probably set up for like a failed breakout first, right, and then reverse. No worries, no worries. But yeah, if you need something, just reach out to me, right? So let's see if we can maybe get a high volume rejection, maybe a high volume reversal, or invalidate some of that selling pressure, and then we can look for another leg higher. But I don't want to basically catch a like chainsaw that's ripping higher, right? That's not very fun. Yeah, so far so good. So far so good here today. So Ajay, why have you been missing entries here today? What's been happening? Sounds good, Joey. Congratulations. 660 bucks is a fantastic session. Well done, sir. So sitting at 1550 here on the day approximately. Really, really, really good bounce back team. And again, I don't feel an ounce of stress here today, which for me I think is ultimately the most positive thing I could have asked for, right? I always find it honestly exceptionally embarrassing when I'm stressed out on stream. I've got no reasons to be stressed out. No good ones. Just ego bullshit. Yeah, so look, regardless of if it's on YouTube or if it's on Discord, if you're going to be waiting for me to say that I'm in a trade and then setting up your order and exiting or entering, you're always going to be late and you're always going to experience latency, right? Because you're no longer taking the same trade as me. You're now taking something that has a different risk reward ratio, right? Something that you're going to make less money when we're correct and you're going to lose more money when we're wrong. So ultimately, right, it's like a little bit of a crutch to rely on me saying that I'm in long term because you never build confidence in your entry technique or your entry timing. And then when you miss trades, right, and you see them run, it then kind of like tricks you into wanting to chase them more aggressively. So the reason, right, why I draw out that blue line is to basically give everyone a reference point for themselves so that they can replicate my technique as best as possible. Because yeah, if you're waiting to say that I'm in, you might be 15 seconds, 30 seconds behind my price. And in some of the trades we've taken here today, I mean that could have been the entire move. So um I like yeah, I think it's very, very important that you build confidence in your own entry timing because that's going to alleviate a lot of anxiety and it's going to allow you to compound wins a lot more aggressively. Yeah, and so honestly, the only way you're going to build confidence in it, right, is you take the trades and then you analyze them if your confidence was justified or not, right? So if I wait for a pullback here into the blue line, you can start to ask yourself, okay, what was my entry, right? Or what was Ajay's entry? What was Michael's entry? What was the worst entry? What was the best entry? And you can create that data for yourself to build up that conviction. but just hoping that at some point it's going to feel right doesn't really work that way. You have to train your gut to know what it's looking for. And by creating that data for yourself in your executions, now you have a base, right, that you can work off of and you can learn from those decisions. So if on every trade, right, you take it the second it touches that blue line, yeah, maybe there's going to be some times where I don't take those trades. But now, right, you're going to be able to look back at your journal and evaluate, hey, am I seeing this the right way? Why did I see the difference? And we have data that we can compare towards and actually fix and improve. But trading's never going to feel right, right? Because our feelings are influenced by how well we slept, how we argued with our partner, how much exercise, what we ate, like all these things. And so there's so many different variables there that are going to make you slow down your process or speed it up, right? Depending on what result you're most kind of afraid of. So the only way to combat that, right, is you have to create facts in your trading and then use those facts, right, to then influence new decisions or new behaviors. So I get it, right, guys? It is one of the hardest things to do because it feels like you're taking something with an unknown feeling, right? And so that unknown creates like a little bit of anxiety. And then all of a sudden, right, you start to get clouded vision for when you're making decisions. So the only way, right, that you can figure out what that unknown is to create that data for yourself, right? And study it. Okay, why did I feel anxious here? Why did I feel stressed here? And you can train yourself, right, to understand what a good winning trade feels like or what a losing trade feels like. And you can build up that intuition. It's like chasing girls at the bar and chasing trades it generally just ends up like you all itchy and scratchy, right? Like it's generally not a good thing. So the more that we can rely on facts and create data for ourselves to rely on, the much like so much faster we learn, right? Now, don't ask me what types of bars I go to if these are the types of analogies I'm coming up with. But for me, right, that's ultimately where that improvement comes as a trader. It's like the moment of clicking and execution. It's ultimately like a personal decision, right? So might have just missed my pullback there into NQ there on the 5. This has got a lot of space to go here to the downside, so I don't need to be in a rush. Like this is going to set up here on the 10 as well, right, with that increasing volume. Whoops. Yeah, 100%. And honestly, guys, right, okay, like if your objective, right, is to wait for me to say that I am in before clicking submit, cool. Wait for it to retest my same price, right? So if I'm saying I'm looking for an entry short at 110.75 or that blue line, and then I get in at, let's say, 115, don't click submit once it's 93. Wait till it retests here at 15 and see if you get the correct reaction, right, that I'm looking for. So if your objective, right, is to only take trades after I say that I'm in them, wait till it retests my price. Don't chase it, because the second you start chasing it, the math no longer works in your favor, right? You're going to take bigger losses and you're going to have smaller wins, and neither of those things are particularly appealing. Okay, so I'm watching here NQ to the downside. 131.50 would be the stop loss, risking about 15 points. I'd say probably the only thing that's giving me just an ounce of pause here is it's pulled back further than it's pretty much move, right? Like it's given back the vast majority of that little flush lower. So that's not super appealing. CL, on the other hand, that's a fuck you volume candle. Interesting. So again, we want the pullback technique. Now, the problem with this is I generally want to have about 10 cents of risk here on CL. It's kind of about my sweet spot. So I need a pullback here into that 6207. That's a big pullback. There's a 3 minute reversal. Yeah, 10 minute looks better. 10:51. It's a really good day. I'm not sure how much worth it's to keep pressing here. Okay, glad to have not chased. Short, right? That would have been a loss. I got to figure out how to feel this level of baseline every day. I feel like I'm such a better trader when I'm at like this level of calm. I like it a lot more. I'm sure you guys do too. It's not fun when I'm a ranting and raving lunatic. But yeah, really good day here, team. 5 for 6. I'm not super motivated to take another trade. Can maybe do this. Once that is the stop. 34. Ooh, it's right on the cusp. So I need around 110 or better, right, for a short. So I'm watching this short. Stop loss 135.25, 15 min signal. So I need 110 or better, right? 110 or better. And it's a short. So what I have here set, right? My limit order price is set as 111. And I'm looking for a rejection above that price. All right, sweet. So I am in. Average price 120. And that's short. Mm, it's got to die here. That teased me for a second. Okay, guys, just took the stop loss. So a little bit over 300 bucks gave back there. Fine. Took the stop. 5 for 7. Fill price was 136, so $320 on that trade. Minus 320. Again, right, keeping the losses really small. Not even flirted with the max loss here today. So it's worth taking those variant shots, right? At least in my opinion. Play the numbers game. Don't make it personal. Keep your losers small. Add to winners when you get that big follow through. And then it all of a sudden feels like this game is rigged in your favor. A bit annoying to have gone stopped out, but that's fine. Again, right? No ego. Don't care if I'm right or wrong on a singular decision. That means nothing. It is the compounding of hundreds of little micro decisions that ultimately makes me most profitable. So I need to optimize, right, for high quality decisions within that context. And not every high quality decision is going to be successful, and not every low quality decision is going to be unprofitable. So we have to maintain that level of objectivity so that we don't trick ourselves that left is right and right is left. Because I think the most dangerous trade you can take, and I had one last week, right, is where I made money by breaking my rules. And it's a very frustrating place to be because it feels, well, it's super inconsistent, right? And so when you guys catch me breaking a rule and you followed it and I made money, then it feels like I'm bullshitting you or I'm lying to you or I'm doing whatever. And I don't want any of those sensations to be influencing your trading. Nice work, Luke. Again, Ajay, right? We're playing a game of variance. So we have to give ourselves enough opportunities to basically finish out on the right side of it. And for me, right, that's the most important thing. All right, it's fundamentally a numbers game. So the second we start to put too much emphasis or too much bias towards one number, we lose our level of objectivity there. I mean, let's see how mean reversion did eventually work out. Oh, but a nice rip. Gotta say, it feels really nice to have scalped here today. It feels really good. I don't even feel like I have the coffee jitters. But yeah, guys, 5 for 7 on the day. That's a great session. I'm not sure if I need to be more aggressive here now. Like at this point, right, I'm just entering or just exiting, right, kind of my kill zone. So now starting to take trades maybe that are like a little bit compromised or aren't ideal would start to be an indication of over trading, right? I don't think I've over traded here today. I think I followed my rules really well and I've done a good job executing those ideas. And so now, right, maybe starting to be more aggressive in a time of day where historically my edge is less lethal. That's where I start to risk, right, that over trading nerve. And if I hypothetically, right, gave back my P&L and finished up $300 on the day, right, took 2 losses in a row, I think that that would be a very frustrating and avoidable outcome. So I'm not going to place any further trades. I'm happy with today's session. Don't feel like I need to do anything else. Took my shot at the short, didn't want to pay out. So, I don't feel like I need to do too much else. How you guys feeling? Everyone okay? Let's go, Mike. Congratulations. So any questions here, team? Any questions? Where the heck is it? There we go. So really strong day here, guys, right? Really good little bounce back. Nicely greened here on the week. Is what, 3 for 3 to the upside. So pretty good here, team. Pretty good. Good little bounce back. Well, Manjeet, all scalping is, right, is just taking quick profits. So everything that we did here today was the right way to do it, in my opinion, right? We still traded the opening range breakout. We still looked for pullbacks using our kind of entry techniques, right? So nothing was different. The only thing that changed, right, is instead of hoping that I was going to get like a massive day of follow through, I was just willing to take my money off the table the second price action started to get stuck. So that's really the only thing, right? It's a reflection of how the markets have been behaving here recently to create those extra changes. And so it's not like I'm doing anything different from a strategy setup, confirmation, or position sizing perspective. I'm doing the same thing like always. I'm just not expecting it to give me bigger follow through. I'm just taking my money when it gives me an opportunity and not giving the market a chance to pull back towards my entry price. So it's basically just closing right on the first pop higher or the first pop lower if you're short, and then resetting and trying again. So I'm continually trading the same setups. I'm continually trading the same ideas. Nothing I did here today should be unfamiliar. The only difference, right, relative to yesterday is that once price action started to move in my direction, I was unwilling to see that go red. And once I admit to myself that I'm unwilling to see a trade go red, that for me is an indication that I need to close my trade as my P&L is increasing. So it's not like some mythical strategy. It's just see profit, take profit, right? So still use the pullback entry technique, right? Still use the aggressive entry technique. Still set your stop loss in the same location. Still trade the same setup triggers. None of those ideas were unique or different here today. The only thing, right, is I just wasn't allowing myself to get emotionally attached to my P&L and just got out before it ever had a chance to make me feel ego or stress or anxiety. Scalping in itself is it's just a duration thing, right? Like the trades that we were in here today were like a minute, 2 minutes, 30 seconds. So that's ultimately what it is, right? It's a scalp when it's a short term buzz, right? Does that make sense? So yeah, it's just closing as your P&L is increasing instead of hoping that it's going to continue to increase. That's pretty much the only difference. Yeah, you too, man. Have a great day. Any other questions here, team? Any other questions? You too, Mike. All right, team, final call for questions here. Final call for questions. Love to hear that, Mark. Congratulations on a good day, and have yourself a great afternoon. All right, final call. Yeah, fire away, Antonin. Sounds good, Sammy. Enjoy. NQ's a freak. No, there's. I'll be trading again tomorrow still, so I'll still be streaming tomorrow unless something crazy happens. So not quite the last day here. So you're probably not going to see too many divergent setups right between the 3 and the 5 min time frame. You're probably more likely to see it between like the 3 and the 15, things along those lines. So in general, I would always default into trusting the longer time frame setup more. Yeah, I drive out tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon, post stream is when I'm going to start my drive. Just got to sign a few closing documents here today, and then I'm all done. So if I had two divergent signals, I would put more emphasis into the longer term signal. But if I'm seeing a mixed story, right, generally across the board, I'm probably not going to have a ton of conviction in that narrative anyway. So the more consistent a story is, the better, right? If we think back a little bit to our trading here today, we kind of kept increasing our time frame, right, when we got failed executions or we got failed signals. And so it'd kind of be the same thing, right? Oh, okay, I got a little bit of indecision there on the 3. Let me see if I get a stronger signal on the 5. So you would effectively treat it the same way. But it would be pretty hard, I think, or pretty rare for you to get like a breakout signal on one time frame, right, and a reversal signal on another. So that's going to be maybe a 1 in 100 type thing. Any other questions here, team? Yeah, again, right? The screenshots won't actually matter, right? It's fine. It's okay. The longer time frames are a larger collection of data, right? They're a larger collection of volume. They're a larger collection of buyers and sellers. So I'm going to trust the larger sample size, right, versus the short-term sample size. So it's not going to change anything from that perspective. But I wouldn't go looking, right, for those reasons. So if you enter a trade on the 5 min time frame, you shouldn't be doing multi-time frame analysis, right? To go find some reason on like the 15 or the 10 or the 30 or the hourly, because you're just going to confuse yourself and you're just going to find or think you found what you want, right? To give you that confirmation bias. So I'm always going to trust the larger sample size, right? It's more consistent. There's less variance to it, right? So for sure, that for me would be the starting point. Even like if I go, let's just get rid of this, right? For an example, okay, right? And you can see, I'll cycle through all the time frames, right? You can see how the average win, right, and win rate percentage increases on average, right, as you go to the longer time frames, right? So the difference between, say, the 15, right, on the bull case is 83.7 versus on the one, right, it's 71%. On the two, it's 63%. So the longer time frame, right, will avoid or help you avoid, right, some of the shorter term signals. But yeah, I don't really believe in multi-time frame analysis, right? Because what I'm doing in general is I'm looking to identify the pattern on the daily time frame and then looking for the first short-term time frame, right, that matches that daily trend. So yeah, like it's hard for me to then want to add an extra layer there. It doesn't add much extra value to my analysis. Yeah, if we could break out above that Wednesday range, Robert, you're spot on, right? That then gives us that opportunity to use that big volume shelf as kind of a catapult here to the upside. But every time we creep up towards it, we seem to get stuck and reject. So I'm going to be skeptical until I get proven otherwise. But yeah, I think your level is spot on. And just to finish off that statement there, Antonin, right? I don't want you to think in absolutes, right? Nothing in trading is an absolute. It's all just probabilities and variance, right? So I can guarantee you there will be times where I will trust the 3 min more than I trust the 30, right? Or whatever it might be. But if you have a mixed signal and it makes you uncomfortable, you don't have to place the trade. You can just sit that one out. And then you can go back and track and study, hey, which one actually gave me a higher probability, right? So I think that's one of the hard things as a trader is that there are pretty much no absolutes. It's all just numbers game. Everything works 70% of the time, right? So we have to be fundamentally skeptical regardless of what. So like the always, I wouldn't, maybe I use that term, but that's not language that I would like to be taken literally, because doing something always, it's tough, right? It's too rigid. I've said this before, but for me, right, trading is half art, half science. And so if we start to think in only always or in absolutes, then we don't have the opportunity to be beautiful P&L artists. So all we're trying to do here is stack up the probabilities in our favor as best as we can, and then ruthlessly execute those trades. And yeah, there's always going to be some excuse, some reason, some indicator, some Discord server, some tweet, right? That tells you the opposite. So you have to be headstrong and just trust in your convictions. And if for whatever reason something there makes you lack trust, note that down and then go back and check if that was a vindicated feeling, right? train your intuition. All right. Any other questions here, team? No more questions? Final call. Final call. Oh, peace.